This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. This is All India Radio. Welcome tomorrow. All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar presents the science serial Welcome Tomorrow, based on myriad facets of artificial intelligence. Time now to listen to the 28th episode entitled In the Words of Vashist.
In the last episode of the radio serial Welcome Tomorrow, you heard how the concept of artificial intelligence or AI was explored in literature and movies and how it blossomed with time. It all began with Samuel Butler's novel and reached Star Wars, which was visualized at a budget of crores of rupees and needed the inputs of experts. It isn't as if the concept of artificial intelligence began with Butler's works. If we scrutinize our ancient scriptures and holy books, we will find that the seeds of imagination first indicated the idea of machines with AI. I do not mean to suggest that the ancients conceptualized the idea of artificial intelligence or that they had the knowledge about artificial intelligence or that they deployed artificial intelligence. Not at all. Science is organized knowledge that advances slowly but surely. It isn't that the ancient had knowledge of artificial intelligence that was somehow lost. Yet, it can be said that the ancient writers did present such imaginative arguments which can be thought to indicate some sort of artificial intelligence. However, it would be entirely incorrect to surmise that there were machines with artificial intelligence or humanoid machines in those days. The fantasy that these writers created using imagination parallels some of the advances in artificial intelligence or robotics these days, although there is no connection with those ancient imaginary descriptions with the real AI machines of today. It may be entertaining to study the historical development of such imaginary tales of artificial intelligence. There is a belief that Lord Ram, who had returned from a pilgrimage, was affected by a sense of immense detachment, a state described as vairagya. In his frame of mind, he focused on the ephemeral nature of life and all its joys which were fleeting and momentary. He turned his back on enjoyment. This was around the time that Rishi Vishwamitra had come to request King Dasharath to allow Lord Ram to accompany him so that he could help him fight off demons that were creating havoc. The advice given by Rishi Vishwamitra to help him overcome his sense of detachment is today called Yog Vashist. It is believed that this treatise was composed by Adikavi Valmiki. There is one episode in this that makes the readers think that artificial intelligence has been described therein.
Rishi, watching TV all the time? You will ruin your eyes. I'm warning you.
No, Ma.
What?
Watching TV does not harm the eyes. There are other reasons behind eye damage.
Yes, Ma. There are scientific reasons behind everything. You must evaluate things against scientific parameters.
Yeah, just because you are more educated than me?
Ma.
What is it? Why are you getting upset and angry?
I am not upset or angry. The kids are the one who are going off the rails. TV, watching TV all the time. When I cautioned them that it would hurt their eyes, they began to lecture me on scientific perspective.
Well, everyone should have a scientific perspective in life.
Yes.
By the way, Rishi and Sarika, what were you watching? A movie or a serial?
Papa, it is a movie by S. Shankar. Antheren or robot.
Yes, Papa. It is a humanoid robot. A scientist tinkers with it and it becomes evil, indulges in criminal activities.
Its original creator orders it to dismantle itself.
Yes, and the fight sequences were fantastic.
Yes, Papa. So rarely are movies like this made here.
Imaginary intelligent machines are nothing new conceptually. In some of our ancient holy texts, we come across rudimentary examples of what can be interpreted as intelligent machines.
Come on, Papa. Whenever something new is reported from anywhere, you begin comparing it with what is written in ancient treatises.
Yes, and then you manage to find some evidence that all this has been documented in holy books ages ago.
We don't manage to find evidence. It is really written in those books.
Now you have begun your debate. I am leaving.
Papa,
Uh-huh.
if artificial intelligence was a concept that was known earlier, where did the knowledge disappear? Why did we have to discover it all over again?
Because the journey of science is ever onwards. There is no back gear in science.
Any such pre-existing knowledge would have been discovered by artificial intelligence in no time at all.
And machines enabled with AI would have graced our lives much earlier.
Yes.
You misunderstood me.
Huh?
I did not mean to imply that the ancients had knowledge about artificial intelligence that somehow got lost in time.
Then what did you mean?
Just that the writers of some of our ancient holy books imagine such entities that seems indistinguishable from robots with AI. Of course, they never had even the slightest inkling about robots, that I admit.
Robots in the time of meditation and bones. What a combination.
Well, in those days, when not much was known about the properties of power of, say, the sun, or lighting, or water, or even our bodies, then the ancient imagined the power of mind too.
What? Power of mind?
Yes, mental strength.
Mental strength.
The power of thought, which was also spiritual strength. This could allow their imaginations to become rooted in possibility and no finger could be pointed at them. This strength was infinite and formless. It was not dependent on any instrument.
Ooh.
So even the most impossible of imaginary things could become possible.
Amazing.
This sounds interesting, Papa.
When they described the impossible in their fables or myths, they also sought to find an imaginary way to make it seem possible.
Oh.
Science was not so developed at that time for them to borrow the concept of such machines, etc. This was the context where the power of the mind was an useful device to use.
Wow. Papa, that means the granting of boons, the many extraordinary weapons, all these were said to have been made possible by using the power of mind?
Exactly. When we say that proof of technique or some knowledge is available in an ancient book, we do not mean that these were actually available in those times.
Then what do you mean?
We mean that people in those days imagined or dreamt about these things but did not have the resources needed to actually create them.
Oh.
Wow. All right, Papa. Tell us then about the imaginary examples in the ancient texts that may represent the artificial intelligence of today.
There is an ancient treatise called Vashist. It is a holy book related to Advaita Darshan.
Vashist.
Vashist. It is believed that once Lord Rama returned from pilgrimage with a sense of detachment from all earthly matters. It was at this time that Rishi Vishwamitra explained to him about many religious profound truths.
Ooh.
These sermons were collected at the book Vashist.
Wow. So, Sage Vashist wrote these sermons.
Oh, no, no. It is believed that the Harbinger poet Balmiki wrote this extremely large book that contains about 1 lakh shlokas.
A sermon consisting of 1 lakh shlokas.
Yes, yes. But there is an abridged version also. This contains just 7,000 shlokas.
Okay. And where is the artificial intelligence in this?
There is a reference to a demoness named Karkati.
Karkati.
Yes. As the story goes, once upon a time an enormous demoness resided on Himalayan peak. Her name was Karkati. She was eternally hungry.
That means her hunger was never satisfied.
Thus she preyed upon animals and humans alike.
Oh,
Yet her hunger was never satiated.
my God.
It struck her that if she did not have such a large body, she would not need to eat such a lot of food. That in turn would have meant less of a struggle for her.
Okay. Then what happened, Papa?
She began penances to propitiate the gods.
Ooh.
She stood on one leg and extended her folded arms above her head and began chanting the name of God.
Wow. Exciting.
Finally, God appeased and Brahmaji appeared before her. Karkati asked for a boon. She requested that her girth be reduced so that she did not need to eat so much.
Okay. Papa, what happened then?
By divine blessing, she was reduced to the size of a needle and given a new name. And you know what was that?
What was that?
Bisuchika.
What?
She was also given the instruction that she should only enter the bodies of evil people to feed on their blood.
Oh my God.
So Karkati's, Bisuchika's life must have become much easier now.
Well, her problem with eternal hunger was resolved. All right. But something else cropped up.
Something else? And what is this new problem?
She was now so tiny that she had to struggle to extricate herself from mud or water if she ever slipped and fell. Even sometimes she was trampled upon. She missed her large and powerful body. She actually regretted having traded it for an insignificant one.
True.
She wondered what she could do about the situation which was of her own making.
This is getting to be more interesting, Papa.
Yes.
And then what did she do?
The same that she had done before. She did penances to get rid of this tiny body.
Again?
Yes.
Oh.
And however, Brahmaji reverted her to her initial stage. She again had a large body and insatiable hunger to go with it.
Oh my God. And then?
Since by feeding only on the evil people, Bisuchika had managed to accrue enough merit for spiritual cleansing, Karkati too fed only on the evil. Days passed in this manner.
And then what happened, Papa?
One day the king of country, Kirath, came to the area where Karkati lived. He was accompanied by the minister and brave soldiers. Karkati was glad to see them because they represented a potential meal.
Yes.
However, she knew she had to ascertain if they were fit to be her prey.
Oh. And Papa, what did she do?
She challenged them to a quiz.
Quiz.
Yes, she proposed asking them 10 questions, announced that their failure to answer would mean that she could kill and eat.
Very clever she is. Very clever.
God. What happened next, Papa? Did she eat them?
The king correctly answered all her questions. He proposed that she should accompany him to his country, where she could eat all the criminals sentenced to death. Karkati agreed and lived happily ever after.
What a wonderful story, Papa. But where is the reference to machines with artificial intelligence?
I did say, didn't I, that a scientific perspective is mandatory for everyone.
Yes, Papa.
Think a large body that demands a lot of energy. Something that is incredibly powerful yet so intelligent that it can defeat the learned in debate. Something can change its shape. What do you think? Is this a creature of flesh and blood?
Impossible.
So,
Doesn't look normal. Your description reminded me of the Transformers.
the Transformers are fantasy at this point of time, aren't they?
True, Papa.
It is difficult to believe that Karkati is the manifestation of an imaginary, enormous machine that is empowered with artificial intelligence and the ability to morph.
Oh, you mean a gigantic robot with artificial intelligence?
Ah, you said it! You said it!
Wow, that was an incredible story, Papa.
And a meaningful knowledge too.
Yes.
Great, thanks, thanks.
Papa, do you know Sophia?
Sophia?
Yeah.
Who's Sophia?
The humanoid robot which was given citizenship by Saudi Arabia.
Yes, Sophia was also named the United Nations Development Programme's first ever innovation champion.
I think too much acclaim is being showered on this robot created by Hanson Robotics.
And why do you say so, Papa?
Because it is a simple chatbot with artificial intelligence. It has simply been fashioned to look like a woman.
Chatbot?
Yes, chatbot.
Sarika, a chatbot is a computer program that can be used to conduct chat conversation with us.
Ooh.
It has two important aspects. It understands a given command and responds accordingly.
Don't tell Papa about chatbots, or else he will find a holy text and search out something similar in it. What was that book, Papa? Yeah, he told us about the other day. The Yog Vashist.
Yog Vashist, right.
I don't need to search anything. Humanoid robot with artificial intelligence is clearly mentioned.
So, Papa, tell us all the Sophias listed in Yog Vashist.
Yes, Papa.
And I mean the humanoid robots with artificial intelligence.
Well, Rishi, in one place the Yog Vashist mentioned King Sabrasur, the giant king. He ruled the underworld where he had installed artificial sun and artificial moon.
Oh, currently some nations are working on artificial moons.
This is the difference. They are able to actually work on this project because science has advanced enough to make the possible. In those days, it was simply the author's flight of fancy.
True, Papa.
The fire that burns as cold as ice is again an imaginary concept. The author claims that the giants and the demons use magical powers to wage war, where they destroyed the kingdoms commanded by the divine entities.
Interesting.
Papa, you seem to be full of admiration for the giant king. Please go on ahead with it.
One day, when he was sleeping, his divine adversaries attacked and killed all his soldiers. On waking, he sent this general to continue the war, but they were killed as well.
That must have made him very angry.
He stormed into battle himself.
Oh,
He had such command over magical powers that this time his divine adversary fled.
oh.
Unfortunately, this meant that King Sabrasur was left empty-handed on the battlefield.
Oh my God.
Continue. What did he do next?
He created 3 horrific demons.
Created? What do you mean by created, Papa?
Created as in made, and obviously, again, we are not talking flesh and blood. Okay? These would have been robots with deep learning abilities.
Come on, Papa. No. How can you be so certain?
Once you hear the entire story, I think you too will agree with me.
Okay, Papa, you go on.
The created demons were extremely powerful with enormous bodies. Bodies as large as mountains.
Bodies the size of mountains? As if?
Don't take it literally, Rishi. Maybe it just means that they were considerably larger than an average human being.
And of course, since it was all imaginary, there was no need to limit the size. In any case, the author of Yog Vashist did not have to fabricate these robots. So he could say these were the size of mountains.
And since these were slated to do big things later in the story, they necessarily had to be huge. Right, Papa?
Right, Sarika. These were named Dam, Vyal, and Kat.
Dam, Vyal and Kat.
Dam meaning someone who conquers enemies. Vyal means someone who encircles enemies like a serpent coils around its prey. And Kat means someone who protects its army from sharp weapons of his foes.
Okay, Papa. Please go on.
Your Vashist makes it clear that these three were not wholly independent living entities because of sins accrued in their past lives. They also lacked emotion, desires, fear, and apprehension, as well as the ability to flee or think. They did not recognize enemies that approached face to face.
Amazing.
They were not afraid of direct attacks also. They did not recognize life nor death. They did not know warfare nor victory or defeat.
Sounds strange. Then how did they fight?
They simply killed anyone raising a weapon.
Wow. It just sounds like a robot with an artificial intelligence.
Can you now appreciate the power of imagination as demonstrated by the author of Yog Vashist, who described an AI mega robot?
Papa, there must have been a fierce battle between them.
Yes. The divine army was devastated by the three demons. The gods went to Lord Brahma.
Really? What happened next?
Well, Brahma instructed them to fight back using crafty tactics.
Crafty tactics? What do you mean?
It means they should adopt varying tactics such as fight sometimes, flee sometimes, plead for mercy at other times.
And what is the advantage in that?
The author writes that facing such situations would inculcate feelings of pride, desire, thoughts of victory, defeat, and fleeing in these three.
Papa, did the gods follow this advice?
Indeed, Rishi. They did. They fought. They fled from the battlefield. They sometimes suddenly hid while fighting, and sometimes they pleaded for their lives. This strange battle went on for about 40 years.
40 years?
40 years, Papa.
Yes, 40 years. During this period, Dam, Vyal, and Kat began to entertain feelings of pride, and then they began to experience emotion, followed by feelings of fear and panic.
That is so interesting, Papa. And then, after that, what happened?
Earlier, even they knew no fear. They were ever ready to attack. Now, they appeared sloth.
Sloth.
Yes. Then they actually appeared to be frightened to go to the war. It was as if they feared being wounded. So, the feelings arose in them, and that tempted them to run away, to flee. It was at this point that the gods slew them.
Papa, I must say, you were a great storyteller. Fantastic.
See, they had been created as robots, but artificial intelligence followed them to pick up emotions such as fear and the need for self-preservation.
True, Papa.
This led them to turn their back to the battlefield and ultimately charted their doom.
You were right, Papa. Dam, Vyal and Kat must indeed have been nothing but robots with artificial intelligence.
They were perfect imaginary examples of robots with AI. You mean Sarika?
Yes, Papa.
Correct.
Friends, in this episode of the radio serial, you have heard how, in our ancient texts, we came across many examples of what can only be said to be imaginary descriptions of robots with artificial intelligence, AI. In the next episode, we will explore a few more examples of such ancient descriptions that closely match the machines with artificial intelligence that have been created today.
Welcome tomorrow. You were listening to the 28th episode of the Science Serial, produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar. The title of the episode was In the Words of Vashist. This episode was scripted by Dr. Arvind Dube, transcription by Sukanya Datta, concept and coordination Dr. Nakul Parashar and Dr. Beerendra Kumar Tyagi. The episode was directed by Pankajpati Pathak, assistance in production by Abdul Ahad. The participants were Pragya, Nitin Basin, Jaideep Singh and Mamta Malkani. Do stay tuned. Here are two questions for you. The lucky listener will get a attractive prize from Vigyan Prasar. The first question is, in today's episode, which mythological character has been compared with modern imaginary character by the writer? And the second question is, in today's episode, why the humanoid robot Sophia has been called as a chatbot? You can send in your answers by simple post to this address. Science Serial, Welcome Tomorrow, Vigyan Prasar, A50, Institutional Area, Sector 62 Noida, PIN code is 201309. You can also write to us on our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Do write your full name and address along with the answers. And yes, if you send us any question which gets included in our program, you will get a prize from Vigyan Prasar for that too. So do not hesitate to write to us, even if it is a simple query. We will be back again with our next episode of the Science Serial. Welcome tomorrow, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye. This broadcast came to you from All India Radio, Delhi.